All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Chihayafuru, Season 1, Episode 9. All right, we got another member. And we might, that's 5. So that might be enough for, a full proper team now.
That's proper. We can be official. We can actually get all the budget stuff. We can get help here. We can have an adult managing kind of, representative or what have you.
And also have someone other than Chihaya and Taichi that really knows karate, that can help onboard the newbies.
Really knows karate.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with how quickly they got someone this good too.
Right.
It's one of
that's
those
quite fortunate.
Dang, Chihaya, you didn't talk to your organization guy and be
she was so nose to the grind set that she didn't even realize that there was someone else in her very niche thing that she does that's really
right
good.
There.
It's right there at her school.
Right. Maybe they have a really big school, though, to be fair.
That is true.
They are, in a big...
they are in Tokyo.
They are in Tokyo, so it could be that kind of a thing as well. Also, having, then, somebody that can be really good at this, it means you can get different kind of things that you learn from the matchup perspective, because, Chihaya, you don't have to be the one playing all the time, either. You can then watch other people play and learn things from there, which you did learn... last episode because, they just showed you when they played you.
Right. You have a very specific set of skills, but that doesn't encapsulate all of the skills that you'll need for karate.
No. Or not for karate in the national stage.
Right, at the level that you're wanting to perform.
Right.
Yeah.
You've just entered the realm where you get to play people like this.
Exactly.
And one of them basically, kind of showed you up a bit here.
You just got to that new rank, and now here's the point where you get crushed back to the bottom and then have to slowly grind your way back up.
Yeah, but y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right.
There's no way you're responsible enough.
Dang. I mean, kind of makes sense, yeah? You're the most popular. Captain of the team from a sport perspective. So Chihaya won't have to do anything. Just be good at karate. And then inspire other people to be good at karate.
Who knows? The teacher might even have been she doesn't want to be president, really. She wants to do karate stuff. I'm going to help her out and be no, have something with less responsibility because that's not where your heart's going to be anyways.
That's nothing.
Yep.
And is that monthly, yearly?
It's a good question.
Probably monthly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, how about we call a truce and...
Yeah.
And probably after being Class B already.
Right. Huh?
Right.
What? Yeah. President.
And be the president, right?
Well, yeah, that's the point where the captain part is the, Yeah. That's, rough.
She's like, no, I have to show you how cool it is when you're good at it.
You guys are gonna need eye gear pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yes, and people are different, Chihaya.
Yeah. Not everyone's gonna be motivated the same way.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Wait, what?
Chihaya, like the national tournament.
カルタの高校生日本一を決める大会が滋賀県の近江神宮で行われるんだよ。甲子園とも言われてる。
まずは東京予選で優勝。
Just win Tokyo Regionals. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
その東京予選って何校くらいが参加するんです？今日は激戦区だから。
For Karuta, this sport that doesn't really exist, you know.
Right.
That's crazy.
大丈夫。毎日私がガチで。
Every day? School isn't every day. Chihaya, you're
Saturday and Sunday, they just
you
get
have
together
no
and
life. Just
play till they drop.
あのと大家さんの相手してたら自分の練習ができないだろう。
そのことなら大丈夫だよ。
個人戦で優勝狙ってんだろ。お前は白波会で練習しろ。二人の相手は俺と西田でするから。
Yeah.
初めて試合に出た時のこと覚えてる？
Yeah, I remember.
あの時みたいに私みんなとチームになりたいの。
わかったよ。
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, it's just not realistic.
大事なのは
Yeah.
定位置。あらかじめ決めておく自陣の配
But
置
we can download a lot into them.
Right.
毎試合ごとに参加できないだろ。
私もうだいぶ決めてきましたよ。右下段に重点的に置いて。
春巣と春のを並べたりするのは相手だって取りやすい。悪いんじゃなくて相手より感じが早いならありってこと。相手に取られにくいか何百回も練習して自分だけの配置を
God, that's you have to play like 1,000 like cards.
Oh, yeah. This is.
Like you have to strike like 1,000 times before.
好きな札を左に置く。そんな単純でいい。山札にセオリーはあんのかな。
私にも教えてください。もっと隙のない配置。後から来た人に負けたくない。
Yeah. Yeah.
Get that competitiveness going.
しなりけり花里知らずに
Hey, they're going to the right areas now, though.
吉野の山の秋風
カラフだ。ごめん。
A dead card.
失敗も経験経験。
Yeah, yeah. That was her like special spot. Like that was
これだけは取ろうって心に決め。
yeah.
All right.
Making you nostalgic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chihaya? Yeah.
私にも仲間ができたよ。
And there is definitely, while they are crushing them because they're new, there's
Yeah.
also something to be said where if you're playing against someone who knows how to play well, then you'll be less likely to pick up bad habits because
Yes,
you'll be copying
correct.
them rather than a newbie.
Get out.
練習
The
時間
school will be liable if you guys stay here any longer.
れるのって2試合くらい。
Oh, damn. That is not much at all.
神なつかねえよ大会になったら1日4試合以上取るの
Huh. Huh.
夏に2泊ぐらい川口湖で合宿。
Yes. Summer camp. Summer camp. Summer camp. Summer
Yeah.
camp.
いいじゃん合宿。やろうよ。
次の土日は開校記念で連休です。でもどこで？
宿泊できてカルタの練習。
I love that they need to make all this up, so it's, you know, because there's no support really. Like,
Right.
時間考えたら
3 weeks till the tournament? Wait, what?
昼休みと放課後を有効に使えば少しは足しになるさ。
近場でみんなで泊まれるとこなんてす
oh
ごい簡単
man.
には。
Wait. Do you?
His family's pretty well off.
うちの両親結婚式で
Yeah.
神戸に行ってるなんて。
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
開校記念日と日曜で
座敷使えるし布団もあるけど千早まで泊まる気かよ。
当然だよ。キャプテンだもん。
This is just such a small detail. His girlfriend's gone. Like, she's out of the picture, like, entirely
Oh,
at this
sure.
point.
Yeah.
前によく一緒にゲームとか。
Now his crush is staying over while his parents are gone.
Uh-huh.
And she
Yep.
wants to see his
Yep.
room. This
Oh,
must
yeah.
be torture.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
あのな
Whoa.
男の部屋なんかポンポン入るもんじゃねえし俺だって入れねえよ。
All right. Oh, hey, then everyone else shows up.
He grabbed my hand just like he grabs those cards. Is this what it feels? Is this what it feels that he like?
Is this what it feels like for a card?
Yeah. Touched by
初
Taichi.
めて格差社会というものを
何言ってんだよ嫌なもの買ってきてくれた
Aha! I got the goods.
What is it? What did he get?
マシュマロ
Wow.
That's
英検
a lot.
急に
ああ親が習い事させんのが好きでさったくちはやのやつ余計なもん見せやがって
これマシマの母ちゃん
綺麗な方ですねでも私ちょっと
You don't either.
なんで
She's
勝たないと
mean.
怒られんの
Mhm.
私はミセスプレッシャー
Mrs. Pressure.
第1回合宿の目標は今日明日の2日間で15試合です
7 and 8.
Oh my god.
作ってきたよ
Oh my gosh.
私と机くん出ずっぱりなんですが今は何より実践だよ
Yeah, you do need
Oh my
reps,
God.
basically.
かなちゃん腕の振り大きすぎ
Now they're playing each other too.
Mm-hmm.
机くんそこはつくの
Okay, no, they're not playing each other. Okay. Or maybe they are, and then they alternate. different
Yeah,
people and
switching
stuff.
it up.
Yeah. Keep it flexible.
次は机くん対肉まんくんかなちゃん対
ちはや
Yeah, we're tired.
もう今日は終わろう
なんでまだ5試合しか取ってないよ
いろ
払えばタコのゴルだし
Yeah, and the memorization on top of all of that.
間が恋し
Also, just slapping their hands like that. Like,
Sure.
笑えるなら
it's a weird combination of muscle groups. Like,
大会出たらきつい場面はたくさんあるよだから練習を続けなきゃ
ちはや
Chihaya.
Mm-hmm.
一生懸命やってくれてるやつを潰す気か
Right.
とにかく今日はここまでだ
Yeah.
いかった
Eat up.
マシマが部長でよ二人ともまだ食べてないの
食べないと持ちませんよね
Yep. They'll crash hard.
机くん頑張って食べましょう机くん
Yeah. They're too. If they're too tired to eat.
いいから隠れて
No way.
Do the parents not know?
あらタイチお友達来てたのでリカが急に帰りたいって言い出して
噛んで靴回収して私の家に行こう
No girls. Yeah.
Okay.
And she's asleep.
Yeah. Just conked out.
Aww.
一生懸命やってくれてるやつを潰す気か
千早ちゃんはカルタのことしか見えてないって
They still say that now, but you know, I don't.
No, they're not around to say it.
Mm-hmm.
さあ行きますよ千早ちゃん
Oh my gosh. The youth is wasted on the young.
Right.
That kind of energy.
どこに
It's not night, it's morning. Nice.
Oh, are they gonna play? Wait, are they just gonna stargaze or?
今夜どうしてもキャプテンに言いたいことが
Captain.
Hmm.
Yes.
今日はごめんなさい全然周りが見えてなくてせっかくみんなが頑張ってくれてるのに
いいんじゃね綾瀬はそのまんまで強引なのは綾瀬のキャラだし一人ぐらいそういうのがいてもいいんじゃね
Yeah.
Right.
Just one, you know.
Exactly. That's why we have Taichi here and things like
ちゃん
that.
がいるから
まだわかんない
It's good to hear it from everybody, too.
Right.
カルタ好きになれそうだよ
Yeah. Having balance doesn't mean that nobody pushes or pulls. It's just
Right.
that it's balanced.
誕生日
Whoa. She didn't even realize it was her birthday.
島の母ちゃんが風呂から出る前に
やべえナイフはこれスプーンだ
もう丸のまんま食っていこうぜ
そんなはしてない
はいちはやプレート
急ぎ
I'm getting emotional here. This is.
千早ちゃんも早く食べないと
Yeah. Just unlocked. Just.
Right. I have friends.
ちはやお前が笑ってりゃ本当だよキャプテン
Yep.
And that track comes in.
やったいただきます
でもマシマの母ちゃんなんか怖えよな
Yes.
風呂場に鍵かけてこいよ
は嫌だろ
私もです
Aggro.
知らないアドレス
Oh, Arata. Oh.
A cold wind blows.
太一
Whoa.
とわんとこ最後の一口あげるよ嘘あげない
Whoa. Whoa.
今の母ちゃん
Whoa.
本当に怖かったな
Damn. Yeah, that definitely was from Arata then.
来たよ
Bro's like, I gotta move fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to have competition again.
流れ星
Wow.
wish that
it's just
came
fate. Yep. I'm playing Paruta again. That's what he's saying. That's good. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah. Oh,
16歳
happy birthday.
Yeah.
And an apology.
Mm-hmm.
No.
今日は最高の誕生日
Damn.
Just like that.
Rolling
Rolling it right into the ED.
Yep.
When the ED
Jeez.
starts while the episode's still going, you know, it's like,
Uh-huh.
okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
They tripled down on Taichi's pain.
yep.
He had 2 moments of absolute just incredible. I say this I say this unironically Riz. Like he was just moving and grooving.
Yeah, with like the, hey, don't go up into my room.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I won't let you in
I
there.
won't let you. I
Yeah.
get to grab her hand here too.
Right. Yeah, and
And
then
she's like, "Wait, why is my heart fluttering?" Like,
right, he goes in like it's for a kiss, but it's just to, you know, eat the
yeah.
thing. Well, and also specifically after she literally like baits him with something, is like, hey, you want this? Nope. Okay. All right.
Arata has made contact.
Yep.
Of course, you know, he's out in the boonies and all that, so he's not even texting or what have you.
Nah.
He uses an old ass, you know, email
Yep,
setup
yep,
thing here.
uh-huh.
You know, we don't
And-
even have his contact info. This is even did some googling there, found out this is all pre-Line Even's existence
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
So,
So, okay.
Wow. On her birthday, he
Mm-hmm.
remembers to contact them, but he doesn't even contact her.
doesn't
directly.
contact her.
He contacts Taichi
Right,
and is like,
because
"Hey,
he wants
pass
that,
this
that
along."
layer of indirection still.
Right, which
Yeah.
for Taichi, this is
Oh,
so
yeah.
painful because
Uh-huh.
he can't hold this back from her.
Right,
Because
there's no
one,
way.
that would be cruel, but
Yeah.
2, it would also be something that would get found out eventually.
Right, but then
and
it's
he's not that
also-
kind of person anymore. Where
Exactly. But it's still
Yeah.
something where he's being used as
Mm-hmm.
the go-between, pass a note to the crush kind
Yeah.
of a person. When he has a crush on that same person, oh my god!
Like, this is
this is why I feel like a lot of stories take place in high school, because you can have things like this happen where it's just like, yeah, that just sucks.
That's
like,
relatable.
That's just painful as shit. Like,
super painful.
I'm sorry, man. Like that's rough, you know?
Right, like I can already see the ways in which I'm beginning to fall in love with Taichi, like as a character.
Yeah.
And even though he was really shitty as a kid,
Yep.
like I give
He's a
most,
totally different
Well, I
person
give
now.
most kids a pass after, like before a certain age, just in general.
Right.
As long as they show like signs of maturation overall.
Exactly, and he absolutely has.
absolutely has. And
Yep.
we're in that fun period now where everybody's just like beginning to crest into those like early stages, you know, transitioning into adulthood and, you know, learning how to handle complex communication and stuff.
Yep.
But
yep.
it still sucks. And
Yeah.
Chihaya, like I relate so much to Chihaya sometimes, but there's these times where she does these things that are painful mistakes. And I mean
Yes.
like really painfully obvious mistakes. But it hurts more because you can see why she's so single-minded.
Right.
Because if she lets go of this, from her perspective, she's like letting go of life.
Right. She like doesn't have anything else.
Right, and it's something that I don't like using the you don't have anything else kind of perspective on it.
Okay.
But it's the idea that like if you held on to something this long, like you can't give up on it now. It's
Yeah.
not that the alternative is nothing. It's that what were all those years for?
Right.
You then go back and you look at the life you've led up until now and go, well, it was worthless.
Yeah,
then.
right. The and maybe this
You're
still doesn't
over-invested, you know.
right, and maybe this still is not quite what your perspective on it, but it's the it's not that you couldn't have anything else. It's that because you've dedicated yourself so holistically to this thing, you presently would not have anything else, right? You would have to basically start over, right? This has been your biggest life investment. It's the reason why maybe you don't really have friends, Chihaya.
She does not.
Right.
And I there's
I
so
love
many
how
things we
that's-
could infer by the birthday thing.
Oh yeah, the birthday thing that she doesn't remember it. The fact the whole thing of and I love that the show didn't like
Explicitly
tell us this, but the whole thing of, oh yeah, people used to tell me Chihaya's, only got, room in her brain for Karuta, right?
I loved that line so much. There's something to be said for when you have a reputation.
Yeah.
Now, Chihaya absolutely has a reputation at school. The first episode actually made a point of this before we even went back in time.
She's the really pretty, also kind of weird girl.
Yeah. She's super over the top, and stuff in this regard.
Right.
But those were people that saw her running around the hallway, climbing up on things and stuff.
Yep.
Those are not friends. Those are people that just were watching from a distance, observers.
Yeah, exactly.
But the way in which Chihaya said people used to say this is almost she used to either notice, like we could be, focusing too much on the people used to say this, like they don't say this anymore. But I get the vibe based on the way that she acts and the way that she doesn't really have any other friends other than Taichi prior to this club. She was so focused on Karuta. She was so practicing Karuta. She was so entirely invested and divested, if you will, from everything else, that she didn't have anyone to do just growing up with.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Taichi's been around.
Oh, yeah.
Taichi's been there.
Right.
But what's so crazy about this is that her love for Karuta made it so that, when you go through that normal stage period of your life of, puberty, and you start crushing on people and you start having those moments of whoa, what are all these feelings and stuff?
Yeah.
Never with Taichi. Ever.
Right.
She was so fully just focused on Karuta. And there's basically no room in her heart even for other relationships.
Right. Even to the point, because some people have clarified for us before that, Taichi didn't completely give up. He didn't give up on Karuta after Karuta left or anything like that. Right. He just, didn't have the same dedication as Chihaya did. But that makes the beginning sort of reintroduction for Taichi of him being she sees him, she gets all excited. Oh, hey, Taichi, and he's like, I'm quitting Karuta. Right. That's
because he had been playing it up
he
until
had been
then,
playing it,
but he was basically done with her as
exactly.
well.
It's I was playing Karuta, yes, because I did like it, but I was playing it because I like you.
Yeah.
And hey,
I can't do that anymore.
Even with Arata not being here, you do not have eyes for me. You will never have eyes for me. Even if I do these overt, very charismatic, suave little moves, it might make you blush or
have a heart flutter moment.
Heart flutter moment.
But you're not going to change.
That's it, and that's not going to change. And that was basically Taichi doing the healthy thing of, I am now going to put distance in here because this is an imbalanced relationship.
Yep.
Right? And so, yeah, we can still be friends, but I'm not going to be your Karuta friend.
I'm not going to be your grab me by the hand and do whatever you ask me to and follow you anywhere friend.
Right.
Because we are close and we've shared, some really sweet moments and stuff. I need to start building my own life.
Right. Because quite frankly, that would not go two ways. Yeah. Right. Taichi would not be able to grab her hand and be like, hey, let's do this thing that's not Karuta and just come along, Right.
And so this is where I feel like Chihaya wasn't just pushing them until they break or what have you. She was literally blind to anything else.
Right.
And I don't like using that term lightly, but there's something about passion and obsession that I think can be focused on in this episode, is that Taichi in a lot of ways has been a little bit obsessed with Chihaya, just a little bit. But the only way in which you would really call him that is just that he's had a really strong crush that never ended despite him going into other relationships even.
Right. And when you're that age, yeah, you crush
You
really
crush
hard.
pretty hard, yeah.
Like it's that's just how it is.
Right. Now, it's one thing to crush really hard all of a sudden, but it's
Right.
another thing, though, to crush from childhood and not let
And
it
for
go.
that to be maintained, and it's not just that person that you never talk to, but you're like, oh, but they're so
Yeah.
cute. I wish I could talk to them.
Right.
No, it's like your best friend, basically.
Right. And so I think that what we saw here also is just an example of where Taichi is needing to be balanced himself rather than just calling out Chihaya
Right.
on her obsession. Needs to be like, I need to put action into my obsession. Otherwise, it is going to be just
Exactly.
It's not going to be helpful.
And
for
that's
me.
where I think the suave moments that he has this episode are that basically coming out, because it's one, him being like, well, I can't just be here with no action, so I'm going to do that. But then it's also the when I need to have boundaries and I don't have boundaries, and then I'm sort of forced to have boundaries, I'm not doing it from a neutral state. I'm doing
Right.
it from a compromised state. I can't just tell her, don't go into my room. I have to grab her hand and say, I won't let you go into my room.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because, now, let's be real, because Chihaya just sort of does her own thing, that may also have been necessary because she would not have listened.
True.
But,
True.
that's where Taichi is. And that's where I really like how they handle Chihaya's flaw here.
Right.
Because she gets awareness of it. Fantastic. That's really important, right?
She listens and
and she listens and responds to
positively.
it and stuff. Really good. Then when we get the thing at the end of them being like, "Hey, don't worry about it too much. That's how you are," right? It's them basically being like, Porky being like, I don't think it's that much of a problem. I'm adding in sort of my own head the asterisks of, it's not that much of a problem because we are aware of it and
Yes.
because you're aware of it. That's fine. If that's how you naturally are and you know that that's something that other people might not be able to match with and everything, okay,
Good.
that's fine.
That's a boundary.
That's a boundary.
Yeah.
And then that way, we will also be actively balancing you out with that in this dynamic, right? Taichi will be saying, hey, Chihaya, that's enough. That's why it is good that he is the president. Maybe that's why the teacher
Yep.
said that specifically, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Chihaya with supreme executive power is a terrifying thing,
Yeah.
potentially. And I very much am in agreement with you that it's a thing of because you're aware of it. There's something that they were already planning to do, I would say a little bit, which was to celebrate Chihaya here from the standpoint of, hey, it's your birthday.
Right.
But also to celebrate Chihaya getting this club together.
Yeah, because that's
The
awesome.
aspects of you, Chihaya, that brought this club together are the same aspects that are connected to your flaw.
Right.
Like, you don't have to abandon that in order to work with us in this Karuta club.
Right.
I think in a lot of ways, part of becoming an adult, or part of just becoming a more well-rounded individual, is acknowledging the difference between flaws that you can grow out of versus things that come packaged with your strengths.
Right, the flip side of the coin. Yeah.
Exactly. So an example of a very passionate person is that they're probably kind of loud. They're probably a little impatient. They're
Sure.
probably also just a little bit single-minded.
Sure.
Those are adjectives that in certain contexts are actually amazing for the strength.
Oh, yeah.
So when you then maybe are passionate but you're arrogant, like though there's nothing in arrogance that is basically pushing towards the passion in a way that we can maybe
Right, you
like
don't need that.
tone
You
down
could-
the arrogance.
Yeah,
Like,
you could totally get rid of that and still have all of the good stuff of the passion, right?
exactly. Right.
Yeah. Have, Chihaya's pushy. Cool. So make her the workhorse. Put her at the,
Yeah.
in the chariot, right?
Yeah.
And she'll push you forward, right?
Exactly. Not scoring you based on how like perfectly zen and balanced you are makes you like we don't have to basically measure these things that are be like, oh, Chihaya, you're a bad leader or a bad captain
Right.
because you can't you're a little impatient or what have you. It's the no. That's your thing. We're going to put you on this cart here as opposed to that.
Right.
And put you here because you're going to be efficient and helpful here.
That's why community is important, right? It's the embracing of our own differences because that helps complement each other. Because we're not little robots where we're all absolutely uniform and we have attained perfection, whatever
Right.
that means. And so we all just do the exact same thing in the exact same way as we go on like little drones through life. No, that's why you need other
Almost
people.
like if you pressured somebody over and over again into doing that,
maybe
you know,
wouldn't
it just
work out
wouldn't
too
really
well.
work out that well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I really like
Good thing
this
nobody in
because
the show does that, you know.
right. Well, yeah, because that is very much a thing that happens. But you know, it's the she is growing, and also they're still high schoolers, right? So the sort of, because there's a lot of especially within like sports style stories, there can be that romanticization of the person that's so gung-ho that they just go at it and they just go and they, you bend reality to their will and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And it's like, okay, sure, that's really cool from the standpoint of being good at karate. But, if someone comes along and says, please go away, you're causing a lot of pain, why do you have to be here? And you say, but if you are the best at karate in Japan, you're the best in the world. That's not what I'm talking about. That doesn't
You're not
matter.
listening.
You're not listening. You're completely disregarding this person's feelings. That's great that you have some really good feelings about this thing,
Right.
but you gotta be willing to listen.
One of the things that I've found in the sports scene specifically is that usually the people that are the most critical or the people that are the most unhelpful in the sports team dynamic are also some of the loudest.
Okay.
Basically, that the loud, noisy, boisterous, passionate, maybe, but also like derisive, critical, corrective, bossy, like those kinds of things and stuff like that. There's just a way to do it better.
Right.
Usually in instances where you'll find these like great coaches that are loud, boisterous, and basically like very demonstrative in that regard, they also have something else that balances them out.
Exactly.
Like you can basically bark orders, but also then meet them in the dugout, meet them in, the quiet moment behind the bleachers and
Right.
have the soft correction or the adjusted kind of guidance, basically. And there's something about Chihaya where, because she's so relentlessly positive, she's not really too close to falling into the ditch of what I'm
Of the
talking
derisive
about.
critical, yeah.
Right, but
Right. That
But-
just means that you've been able to get by with it a lot longer because it isn't as glaring of an issue.
the reason why these people usually exist is because the competition is stiff. And right now, Chihaya has never really, in the story sense, in the true, like, shown story sense, had stiff competition.
Okay.
Except for Arata, which we'll get into that
Right.
later. Because obviously he's going to come back and be a part of the story in some
Sure.
way and all that.
The dark horse returning or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But right now, we basically time skipped through all the points where Chihaya had potential competition. And because she was doing all this alone,
Right.
because she was doing all this by herself, she was able to go at it with just her relentless, just
Right.
go
She didn't need to
attitude.
change the way that she interacts with others because she wasn't interacting with others.
Exactly.
So all the positive ways in which her flaws, are also, help feed into her karate journey. Great.
Yes. I will just say this as somebody who has gone through arcs, if you will, of myself with how I approach this kind of subject. Basically, sports in an area where you're individually competing, but you're also kind of group competing, is that there's going to be the moments where your relentless energy will just need to be focused inward. We don't need you to be as boisterous or loud about it, because it will end up, even if you have the most positive intentions, it will end up bullying people. Now, because we're in an anime and the first single digits part of the show here, we're not going to focus on that part of the story yet.
No.
But Chihaya, this is something that if you go down this path and you don't change and you don't evolve and you keep going this way, eventually you'll stumble into this problem. So I'm just throwing that as a way down the line, very big potential problem, because no, I'm sorry, you're not going to win nationals in this summer.
What?
That's just not going to happen.
In 3 weeks, these two newbies aren't going to be able to...
And usually, this is the other thing, and usually the other reason why people can end up becoming this way is because you have teammates that are not at the same level of passion as you.
Sure. Yep.
What do you know? That's literally every team ever.
Right.
You cannot avoid that. That is impossible to get.
Weirdly enough, this like topic of conversation in this aspect of Chihaya is making me think a lot about D&D, because while it's not a sport in the traditional sense, you're still a team of people that are working together, but because it's also like a narrative theater thing.
Yes.
Even if you're like the best role player or the best like collaborator or really good at making those fantastic combat builds or whatever, that really doesn't matter, because there's other people at the table, and oh hey, if you're hogging the spotlight all the time and nobody else is getting a chance to play, basically
you're collaborating so well that you're 70% of the talking
then you're
time.
talking to yourself. It's not just like that's impolite. That's fundamentally like failing at what the thing is.
Right.
It's a lot easier to miss that, because if you're in a just competitive sport thing, then it's like, well, that's fundamentally what this is about, being the best we can be or whatever, right? But if you think about the other aspect, and this is where I think of like fencing and stuff, where it's do you want to, like Taichi brought this up, of you should actually just focus on your own like skill set and stuff, because what we can work with them, but is your focus creating a person that is the best at the thing, or creating as many people that are really good at the thing, right? Like, is the goal the education, or is it the achieving of the, first place prize or whatever, right?
Sure.
Because you fundamentally go about that differently, right? Chihaya's decision to be like, no, I'm actually going to work with them this way. They might not respond well to that kind of education, but that is the right decision if your focus is, I'm wanting to make sure that these people are given the best shot they have to understand how to do this properly.
Right.
As opposed to, her just wanting to be the one to do it. And that's where, for all her flaws, this is also something where we can be really hopeful and everything, because she is so glad that she now finally has people, right? So when those things come up and the people push back and are like, hey, this is a bit of a problem, she
like
is
Taichi
like Taichi did, she's like, oh shoot, yeah, I was totally doing that. Oh no.
Yeah, she has enough self-awareness, and I would say she's also maybe not externally processed this yet, but I think we can interpret a little bit that she's not afraid of it yet, but she is aware that this could go away, because it did with Hirata and Taichi.
Right.
They had the group back when they were younger. They had the camaraderie. They had the team competition experience. But that was years ago.
Right.
And while she's hungry to have it again, which I very much empathize with.
Yeah. You get people that sync
I-
up with your passion, and it's like a drug.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. I will say there is nothing better in this world, probably, than the feeling of being locked in with a group of people. Whatever it is you're doing. Whatever it is you're doing. Because there's something when you're like, it's like, sex is great, but
I was actually just thinking of that.
But
right?
like the idea of like, it gets multiplicatively better the more people, not sex, but just the group.
Like, sex is great and helps you be locked in with your partner.
Right.
But the great thing about a relationship is that you're locked in with somebody. And you're locked in with somebody on a fundamental level that goes so much deeper than you would be like with, a friend or coworker or whatever.
It could be League of Legends, or it could be cards.
Yeah, exactly,
right? It could be anything. But
and that is a truly wonderful feeling.
Right, because just because you're in a group, it does not mean you're locked in with them.
Right.
When you're actually locked in, I'm just using this phrase to just encompass the entire umbrella of what that could mean here. There is something special that elevates the group.
Yeah.
In a way and a feeling that is unmatched.
And that's probably why sports shows are such a draw.
Well, they're just a rush,
right? Yeah, because it's about the idea of that.
Yeah, it's a thing where you get to celebrate the individual that is doing their part in that present moment to contribute to the locked in feeling.
Right.
And that's what makes it so good, is that each person individually has a different why and a different how and a different what, but they're all unified in that similar thing at that present moment. And certain sports activities, dynamics, and things like that bring that about easier or harder or in just different ways. And when you see it happen, or when you get to have that usually like retrospective kind of look, that moment where you stop and go, wait, we just had one of those moments. Because it usually just brushes past you and it's over.
Right.
But you get to look back on it and go, whoa, I'm still chewing on it. I'm still digesting it. I'm still having that moment hit me in a second wave, a third wave after it's happened. And you're like, oh, I got to do that again. Like that was so good. Yeah. Like that was awesome. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. This is a great episode.
It's a great episode. I very much feel for hey, we've got to find a place. We've got to find a spot, you know.
Yeah, it's like,
we're struggling.
Taichi's place. We're totally not going to ask his parents or let them know that, like, you know, there would be, like, girls staying over. Yeah.
Right. I also kind of love the inferred Chihayafuru told Taichi that we're going to use his place.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which also, then, this is just something that's really fun. I absolutely love Chihaya not liking his mom. This is a small but subtle little thing. In Japan, there's such an obsession with like showing their protagonists being respectful towards the elders. And this is a thing that I just props to the anime specifically. Because I'm a little bit tired of it. Is sometimes the protagonists of these types of stories, especially the young ones, they'll be written in a way where they have to be overtly respectful and kind to their elders, basically.
Oh, sure.
In a way also that is endearing. And
and very fun and like, oh, wholesome good boy.
Yeah. But there's also some iffy times where they'll be like, well, you need to see it from their perspective.
And it's like, no.
And it's like, no.
They are being a monster.
Right. And even if they're not being a monster, this is where I actually really like it here. I don't think his mom's a monster.
No.
His mom's just what I would call a controlling mother.
Yeah.
That's not a monster.
No.
That's just, honestly, a pretty below average mom.
Right.
Most parents are, to some degree, a little controlling.
Well,
but
half of parents are below average.
Well, I'm not going to go into that because I haven't experienced all parents. But my point is that the average parent that I've seen has that little bit of fear, control, worry, thing there. But if we look at the visual representation of what that has created, we know who Taichi is.
Yep.
We saw the trophy room. We saw the way in which the daughter, his sister, I guess, walked. I don't know if you noticed that. But she had the snootiest, most like uppity kind of look as she walked into the house during that night.
Go back to it because
Like I will. I
feel like that fits, but it wasn't something that like actively stood out to me.
Look at the way in which when they walk through here.
Oh yeah.
Like, is it just me?
Yeah.
That
Rika suddenly said that she wanted to go home. Yeah.
And then she said, no point in me staying if we weren't going to USJ. Like,
damn.
she has been absorbed, if you will.
Yes.
If we want to have a visual representation of how bad the mom is, you look at the child that succumbed to the domination.
Well, I mean, we look at what they prioritize. They prioritize traditional success. Okay. Yeah,
sure.
And achievement and all that stuff.
That's not bad.
That's not inherently bad.
No.
But it's to the exclusion of all else that Taichi kind of feels like he needs to escape from it a bit. But then also we see the one who truly learns what they are teaching, and that is, it's all about the stuff. It's
I didn't win the USJ, so I'm not going to participate.
I didn't get what I want, and so now,
yeah.
No, that's great.
It was.
And
partly,
there's a poetry to it that now the mom is beholden to it.
And she's
to the little monster that she's made.
Yeah, she's not suffering, but she's kind of being forced to move and adjust along with it.
Exactly.
Which I love.
And she probably doesn't mind because she's like, okay, yeah, we can go home, I guess.
Right.
Like, all right, we'll sleep in our own beds. Sure.
But to then frame this
as Chihaya's on the other
side
hiding.
with this like gross look on her face of like, I just don't like it when she speaks.
Yep.
It reminds us that you can have a bit of common sense in some areas, but not in others.
Right.
Is that Chihaya has spent enough time with Taichi that she got to know his mom.
Yeah.
But I just love it from a writing perspective that we can have our protagonist not really respect or like her.
As clueless as Chihaya is, she still notices things and is like, I get yuck. I get no. I get please. I do not want to be around this. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I love Chihaya as a protagonist. All this to say is that she has some very lovely, well-written contradictions built into her character that are consistently displayed across the 9 episodes we've seen thus far. And that's really admirable. I want to give praise where praise should be due in this regard.
Exactly. She both does a great job of being the protagonist and driving the plot and all of that stuff, while at the same time the show doing a really good job of acknowledging the ways in which the things that she has that are strengths are also flaws, and those are things that are being brought up and that she's working on.
Yeah, and having dimensionality to them, where they apply and where they don't apply.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
All in all, great episode and great just development of the characters as a whole.
And what do you know? It works for the sports team and it also works for the romance.
It works just great for both. It does, doesn't it? But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. And also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.